Welcome to Movie Life Crisis. Join us as we watch the best movies from 30 years ago.
Who's Keyser Soze?
5 men must find a myth
A spook story that criminals tell their kids at night.
before it destroys them all. Stephen Baldwin, Gabriel Bryne, Benicio Del Toro, Chazz Palminteri, Pete Postlethwaite, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Spacey. Critics are calling it spellbinding entertainment.
And like that, he's gone.
The Usual Suspects, rated R.
That's not how I would have said Postawait.
No,
But
not
that's
me
only
either.
because we knew somebody.
I don't think I would have had. I don't think I would have made the trailer music with the explosions where someone was playing a really fast xylophone. that doesn't give me the vibe that I want.
Yeah, not the vibe of this movie, really. I don't know. That sounded more like ER. And
Yeah.
they're rushing somebody and they need...
This week in a very special ER xylophone accidents.
Someone get me something stat!
Get down again.
All right,
We-
so wait.
hold
Now
on,
that I've seen
stop,
the trailer of this...
Wait, it's very important that Jeff wants to tell all of you that this movie has a twist, and don't listen to the podcast. Turn it off right now. I'm serious. I'm not joking, because we're going to reveal the twist only 30 years after the movie came out.
Right, but here's the thing. If anybody's
Also,
watching...
he was dead the whole time in The Sixth Sense, if you watch
Yeah,
that.
he was dead. I'm saying I just didn't want somebody to go like, I'm going to watch the movies that they talk about, and then watch this one and miss out on the good twist.
Yes, I have
that's
0% concern about that. But I keep forgetting that we're recording video right now and that the video starts when the podcast starts. So I'm like digging in my teeth and shit during the intro. I was like, oh, someone might look at this.
It's
This is
fine. Nobody
this
cares.
This is the part that someone would watch the first 30 seconds. This is the time when I should...
No, it doesn't matter.
Remember that
Here's my
cameras are
problem
pointing
is
at me.
you showed the video of the trailer and I realized I wasn't supposed to watch Reservoir Dogs, which I used to get those two movies confused constantly. I don't know why. I mean, I know why.
I think
Because
is it
there's-
just the poster? Just the poster?
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
like
bunch
the
of guys
five
standing
guys.
next to each other.
Yeah,
and they
it's
all
like
look
the five
vaguely
guys, and I
yeah,
used to get them. I mean, I know they're different now.
like mafia-ish.
Right. It's just the five guys standing there, and I used to get them confused in my brain.
Movie Life Crisis Season 5, Episode 6, The Usual Suspects.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Dude, this is awesome. I own this movie on DVD. I always have really liked it. And we did an Outbreak a couple episodes ago, and we got to the very end, and we talked about the problems with Kevin Spacey and Cuba Gooding Jr. And I felt like maybe we should put that a little bit more towards the front so that people don't listen to 40 minutes thinking that we're skipping it. So I'll just say, there are lots of problems with director Bryan Singer and with actor, Academy Award winner for this movie, Kevin Spacey. And we will get into those when we get to the worst. Recognize that we understand that both of these people now are known to be shitty. But we're going to mostly skip that to talk about their work for the podcast.
The Weinstein effect. Yeah.
Yes, and then we'll catch it when we get to the worst.
What a freaking jerk. Both super talented people, though. That's for sure. They're killing it. They got all the. They did all the good stuff in this movie, and a lot of their movies are good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right. It's probably good that we talked about it because it does sound like we're like, Kevin Spacey, he's my jam.
Well, I'm
got a
going to
Kevin
spend the
Spacey
first.
jersey.
I'm going to spend the first 30 or 40 minutes of this podcast going like, man, freaking Kevin Spacey was so good. And then I'm going to, when we get to the worst, I'm going to go, by the way, Kevin Spacey, horrible person. Very good at acting, still.
He's the best and also the worst.
Right. Okay, so if you haven't already turned off the podcast because of that or because you don't want to hear the twist, welcome. We'll continue on with The Usual Suspects. Give us a synopsis.
Without the twist or with the twist?
I don't know how you're gonna. We're gonna talk about the. We're gonna talk about the twist, and we're gonna also talk about the movie, which features many dirty words. So just
Lots
be
of
aware
dirty
that those
words.
things might happen.
Those are things. Yeah. A group of criminals forced into a heist by a legendary crime lord, Keyser Soze. Soze, right?
Keyser Soze.
Yeah. The story is told through the perspective of a seemingly weak con man, Verbal Kent, until the shocking reveal that he was Keyser Soze all along. Maybe. Possibly.
Maybe, but probably.
Yeah, probably. I just had a maybe at the end of that because that's how I saw it. Dude, I like the name Keyser Soze.
Yeah, that's great.
This is the first time I've seen this, by the way. If we haven't,
I don't know how that's possible.
Honestly. I agreed. I have it on DVD, and it's not in plastic, so I have opened it. I just don't ever remember watching it.
I've seen it probably 10 times. I really like this movie, and I was like, I remember, like, there's parts of it that I really liked. I wonder how much I'm gonna like it, and I was like, I can't believe I haven't watched this in so long. It's so freaking good.
Yeah, it was way good.
$6 million budget, $67 million gross. So
that's pretty good.
11x. That's great. I mean, for an indie film, that's like what you want, but that's phenomenal. Ends up at really number 75 on the year, right between Boys on the Side and The Postman.
Postman, I know. Boys on the Side, I don't think I know that one.
That one had like Drew Barrymore or something.
Drew Barrymore,
maybe so.
Maybe that's it. I don't remember. I can.
It's
Boys
Whoopi Goldberg and Drew Barrymore and Mary Louise Parker.
Cool. Ooh, and Matthew McConaughey.
Hey,
all right.
Yeah. The Postman, by the way, very good book, not good movie.
There are people that love that movie. No, wait, that's Waterworld. Waterworld's the one that people love. Wait, they probably love Postman.
Waterworld, I don't love, but I'm excited to do it on the podcast because I own it on DVD, and it's better than people think.
I'll trust you on that one. I don't think I've seen that one all the way through either.
Yeah, dude, Dennis Hopper's being an absolute maniac. It's fun.
Wait, is that the one where John Travolta is like an alien? No,
that's Battleship Earth.
Battleship Earth. That one was bad.
That one's terrible. Yes.
Yeah.
Awards. This thing won a whole bunch of awards.
Yeah, ton of awards. Best Supporting Actor Kevin Spacey. Here's my thing. Now I understand that Gabriel Byrne apparently didn't realize he wasn't the main character until he saw the final cut. So he was like, "Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that," which is weird to me that he would say that in an article because, like, it seems like you would have read the whole script. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like he would have known. But whatever. Point is Kevin Spacey wins Best Supporting Actor, and to me, he was the main character. I thought that the whole time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he's telling the story, so I thought, I don't know. They gave him Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah. The production company submitted him for consideration in the category Best Supporting Actor.
That's how they do it. So it has to be submitted that way.
Yeah, but the thing, no one thought that Kevin Spacey was the star of this movie until the movie came out, and they realized he was the star because the movie was really good.
Yeah,
like he was last billed. Like,
yeah.
They intentionally gave him the part because they figured no one would know that the twist was coming because he's the least famous actor.
I got you.
So, like, at the time, that was Stephen Baldwin and Gabriel Byrne were the biggest build, and Chazz Palminteri. And then, like, freaking Kevin Spacey was like an afterthought, and then the movie comes out, and he wins an Oscar, and then he's in Seven right after this, and then he wins another Oscar for American Beauty, and suddenly he's a huge star. And so looking back, you're like, Kevin Spacey should have been the lead. But at the time, no one thought that.
Nobody.
It makes sense because he's the voiceover, but it's also just like, it's just an ensemble.
Right. The whole time, though, because he was telling the story, I was like, oh, he's the main character. And then I looked up the awards, and I was like, supporting actor? But now that you say that's how they have to turn it in that way, I didn't realize that's how that worked.
Yeah.
I thought they, picked it. But it won that, and it won Best Screenplay. Dude, British Academy Film Awards, freaking Independent Spirit Awards, Golden Globe, got nominated for stuff. There's a ton of awards. But it won for both Best Supporting Actor and Best Screenplay.
Yeah, and it's also since then it's made lists of the best screenplays ever written. Like I think AFI had it as the 35th best screenplay ever, which is kind of crazy.
That's pretty good. I could see that though. This was the twist got me. For reals. I was trying to figure out who it was going to be. I liked it. I could see how it could win all the anything for screenplay. I could see how it could win that.
Well,
editing? I thought it was good.
Since you hadn't seen this before, did you see the twist coming, or were you surprised?
No, I was definitely surprised. I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And then we're going to talk about it in my best scenes, but as he starts looking over the freaking corkboard or whatever is behind the desk, and he sees all the things and the freaking name on the bottom of the cup, I was like, "What the." This is amazing. Who writes this?
Yeah, dude.
And then
that's awesome.
Yeah, Christopher McQuarrie. That's who writes it.
And this is one for me that, you think some stuff, Like once you know the twist, it's like, oh, okay, I don't really need to. Like this to me is better once you know the twist because you can go back and look at it and go like, could I ever have figured this out? And there's like they tip it a couple different times throughout the movie.
Yeah,
but it's so subtle. It's like, God, this movie's smart. They freaking like they clearly
hit it the whole time. Yeah,
they clearly knew it, but they didn't. It wasn't overt, and like you kind of know now because Kevin Spacey's way more famous than everyone else. And
right.
They've been making jokes about Keyser Soze for 30 years, but at the time,
yeah.
even like. But I like that even knowing the twist, I still really like this movie. Like I think I kind of like it more having seen it.
Now that you know the twist. Dude, I didn't know. And the whole time I was just like, when it happened, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And I was like watching it by myself in my classroom on my off hour. And I was just like, this, is anybody seeing this? This is amazing. Because I really didn't see it coming. That's how much I liked it. That's why I didn't want to spoil it for anybody.
Yeah,
30 years later.
We went to see The Matrix during the pandemic, my wife and I, and they were doing it at the Belcourt, like the local nonprofit art house theater that always shows really good movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were doing it in the parking lot. They just did like a parking lot movie, so we went and parked in our car and like sat there, and you tune your freaking FM radio to the Bluetooth channel,
like the drive-thru used to do. Yeah.
And they play the movie, and like it's The Matrix, obviously. It's amazing, but I don't think Wendy had either not seen it or she hadn't seen it in like 10 million years. I think she had not seen it, but it was the same thing. She was going like in 2020. She was like, "Dude, did you guys see The Matrix? It was awesome." And everyone's like, "Yeah, what are you talking about? It was 20 years ago." She's like, "I just found
that
out."
movie Heat? Yeah, we did. Well, I want to talk about it now. That's freaking great.
Yeah, so it's exactly like it's like The Usual Suspects. Did you guys know that it was Kevin Spacey the whole time? It's dude, what?
Dude, I don't know why I've never seen this, but the whole time I want to talk about it with people, but I was like, I'm just going to save it and I'll talk about it on the podcast.
That's how it's lucky that you have the podcast because that's how I feel about the music of Frozen, which I'm just now watching because my son is 3, and I'm like, I want someone to talk to me about the music of Frozen. I don't know if it's good or bad or why can I not stop singing it, but also I don't know that it's that good. Like,
yeah,
where can I have that conversation? It's 14 years after the movie came out.
You can definitely have that conversation. Everybody knows the music from Frozen that has kids for sure. It's friggin'. I don't know if I'm elated or gassy, but I'm somewhere in that zone.
Somewhere in that zone.
Yeah.
Dude, no sequels, no spinoffs.
No. They it's been parodied a whole bunch.
A million
and
times.
I didn't realize what the parody. I guess I knew, but I didn't know the parodies that I had seen all those times. But no spinoffs, no sequels.
Yeah, and I don't remember the first time I watched this, but I remember watching it a bunch, and I know I owned it on DVD, like in my 20s, in my DVD buying phase.
Yeah.
I've just seen it a bunch of times, and I don't,
Dude, I had it on DVD. I don't even know why I don't remember ever watching it. Like, I know, I'd be acquiring stuff and not watching it or listening to it, but like... I don't know why I would have this and not watch it, and I don't think I did.
Well, I went to college in Montana, and so I don't know. It just seemed like I had a lot of time to myself, and so I would just randomly just drive down to where the freaking video store was. I'd be like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go to Sam Goodies or whatever the hell the record store was there.
Yeah,
and I would just go buy a DVD, and I would just come back to my dorm and I would just watch it. And this was one of those because I just had a huge collection because I transferred, so everybody in there already had friends and stuff. So it's I would see them at class and at practice, and maybe on Saturday there's a party, but that still leaves 6 nights where I'm playing a lot of Xbox and watching a lot of movies.
Right.
So I would just go. I think I just went and purchased this because it was in my collection that I brought back with me from Montana.
Dude, I definitely found it in my box too, but I don't remember ever watching it. The first time I saw it was a few days ago. HBO Max. It's wonderful.
All right, how do you rate it?
Dude. I love a twist, especially if I can't get it. I thought the acting was unbelievable. I gave it a 9.0. It's fantastic. Can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, it's. I'm excited to hear what you think on a rewatch now that you know the twist, because honestly, I think it's freaking even more fun.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes, oh shit, he's wearing the same clothes the whole time. Of course he's dead. He's been dead the whole time. Now I see. And
right.
The second time through of Fifth Element, not Fifth Element, what the hell's it called? Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. 7 days in heaven, 8 days a week.
Right. So the second time you watch Sixth Sense, it's a little I can't watch it now. I don't think it's as good.
No.
like I've seen it more than 2 times. The first time was fantastic. The second time was also good because I knew the twist and I was watching it. But I think this one would be good regardless.
I thought it was. I also gave it a 9.0. I was like leaning even higher for a while because I was just like, dude, I forgot how much the middle. Because I remember the beginning. They get all thrown together in the lineup, like bring in the usual suspects, which is a line from Casablanca that they wanted to make the title of this movie, which is genius.
Yeah.
I remember that part, and then obviously I remember the end, the whole third act. They're shooting up the boat, and then like the interview. I remember all that, but I forgot all the middle.
Yeah,
like, dude, the middle's good too. This is awesome. Every single scene, I was like, this shit's like. I kept thinking like, oh, probably whenever it slows down, like I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna go run to Costco and go do some stuff. I'll come back and finish it up later. And I never did let down. I was like, this thing is badass. Like,
it was one thing after another, and they just kept making it to that. Like every time they would cut back to Kevin Spacey telling the story in the in the office. I was like, all right, so now they're going to talk for a bit. And so I'm like, oh, now I'll eat my lunch or whatever while I'm watching it. Like the whole time I was just like, I couldn't even put the yogurt in my mouth. I just kept bringing it up there and setting it back down. I was just like, it was really well acted and unbelievably written. And I really liked it a lot. I could see why it's one of the people's favorites, like even down, like you said, 11 times multipliers, big, but people still love it. It's like a hit still, so people still go back and watch it.
Yeah, man, this one holds up really well if you can get past the Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer part of it.
I can do that for sure.
I can't. I mean, I wish that those people were not involved in it, but I can't change that at this point.
Right. Right.
Like we talked about this, like R. Kelly got a timeout, but now that his victims are getting a piece of, like, that's back on the playlist for the barbecues. I'm gonna take some time off from Kanye, but eventually I'm gonna have to go on with my life and put on College Dropout. I've taken some time away from Tom Cruise, but then he made Top Gun Maverick. I was like, all right, well he seems like he's trying hard.
I can go. I could not ever watch a lot of these again and still be fine. But man, I don't know, man. I can separate them for stuff like this. I can watch it, and I probably want to watch it again.
Yeah, dude, you definitely should. Truthfully, it's really fucking irritating to me that we have to have a conversation about can you separate the art from the artist like every third episode because so many people now are shitty. I liked when we didn't know they were shitty, although I guess it's better that we do know. But
I was going to say,
this to me is not a fun podcast topic. Like, fuck Kevin Spacey, but he makes good movies, and we might still talk about those.
I was like, don't fuck Kevin Spacey. He would love.
No,
that.
I'm way too old to have to worry about that. I'm safe from him and Bryan Singer because I am a legal adult.
Man.
All right. Both 9s out of 10s. I think we both did Friday 9 out of 10 too. We're freaking just a couple back-to-back bangers.
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies.
All right, dude. Top 3 scenes. What's your first scene?
All right, so my favorite scene is the one I already talked about, the big reveal. He drops the coffee. It's in slow motion. It crashes to the ground, and he's replaying the parts. This is Chazz Palminteri. He is replaying the parts in his head that Kevin Spacey was saying. And as he's doing it, he's seeing the pages on the corkboard behind Clueless's dad. Like, get out of my chair. What's that guy's name?
Yes. I gotta love that dad.
I like that guy. Jeffrey something in the movie. His name was
Dan.
His
name's Dan.
Dan.
Yeah, Dan Hedaya.
Hedaya, there you go. So it's behind his desk, and he's seeing all of these different words and names that he got told in this story by Kevin Spacey. Dude, great! One of the freaking greatest twists in movie history. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's all from the corkboard, dude. All the names that he's making up. Like I was in a barbershop quartet in Skokie, Illinois, and the maker of the freaking corkboard is Quartet out of Skokie, Illinois.
Out of Skokie, yeah.
And then Kobayashi is the attorney, and the bottom of his coffee cup says Kobayashi. And if you watch early on in the interview scenes, which I was this time, you can see there's a shot from like over Chazz Palminteri's shoulder down at Kevin Spacey. And you can see in the shot that he raises the coffee cup, and Kevin Spacey's looking right at the bottom of it.
Oh man, freaking brilliant!
It's
for real.
Great.
This whole twist at the end, jaw-dropping reveal for me. I freaking loved it. Yeah, how he's just slowly unpacking it and realizes the twist. That's great.
That ending is incredible. It's the surprising part to me was that the movie up to the ending is like just as
Still,
good.
still
I was
good.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, maybe it's just that one like amazing scene. It's like, no, the whole thing's actually pretty badass.
Yeah.
And that sequence, they had to go recreate in post production because Bryan Singer, while he was editing, was like realized that they put together the sequence right prior to that, where Agent Kujan, Chazz Palminteri, is convinced that Dean Keaton is Keyser Soze.
Right.
And, it's like the quick cuts. He's like flashing back and like he's yelling and like it's jumping around. Like they built that sequence of Dean Keaton being Keyser Soze, but they didn't have the same like sequence that Verbal Kent was Keyser Soze. So they had to go back and recreate that for that very tail end where it's like the freaking shots of the corkboard and he's walking away and he's like stopping to limp. He pulls out his lighter, like all that stuff.
Then he starts walking regular and stretches out his hand, dude.
Yeah, dude. He pulls a cigarette out with his like fake crippled hand. So good.
Yeah.
That's one of my scenes. Obviously, that's the most memorable scene from this movie.
Yeah. What? So what's your next one?
The first one that was on my list was the police lineup scene when they first get together, the usual suspects, and they're in jail. Because it's just great, man. It's just like, it's these 5 criminals who are all, it's freaking Stephen Baldwin and Gabriel Byrne and Kevin Pollak and Benicio Del Toro and Kevin Spacey, and they're just all in this holding cell after the like lineup.
Yeah.
And there's like the voiceovers going like, you never put 5 criminals in a room together, and but then they're all talking. You're getting a sense of the characters. I don't know. Dude,
I like when he makes them read the line. He's like, all right, just repeat the line that's given to you.
Yeah.
He's got the thing, the piece of paper. By the way, I went back, since I picked that as one of my scenes, I went back on YouTube and just tried to find it. The one that I found is from TV. So the line that they have to read is, "Hand me the keys, you fucking cocksucker." Well, well, when he pulls out and they're all reading it different. Well, the video that I found, they keep saying, "Hand me the keys, you fairy godmother." And it's hysterical. I found it just this afternoon when I was finishing up my notes. I'm going to have to send it to you. It's freaking hysterical. I can't believe that's how they fix it. Like, I know they say stuff like brother trucker all the time and try to make it clean without cutting the whole scene. But fairy godmother's pretty weak I don't know what else you change it to. But fairy godmother's pretty weak. So hand me the keys, you fairy godmother.
The great thing about that that scene is that the director, Bryan Singer, also problematic, was getting really mad because the actors kept screwing around and making each other laugh. And it was like they were going over schedule and it was taking too long. He was like, "Could you guys freaking take it seriously?" Like he even like called lunch and like told them to like be professional. And then they came back and they just still kept giggling like schoolboys and like doing the line like idiots to make each other laugh. And he just finally was like, "Well, the hell with it." And he just used those takes.
That's fantastic.
Because they never did it without that. And but then it's like one of those things that after the fact, it's like, oh, it actually looks like these guys are not at all scared to be in this police lineup and they're all goofing around with each other.
I thought that, that's how I took it.
So it builds rapport. It actually works really great. But he just did it because the director was annoyed that they wouldn't take it seriously.
Benicio Del Toro did it with his like stupid like open mouth, never close your mouth when he talks type thing. He's like, in English, please. So what are you talking about? Hand me the keys, fairy godmother. Like, he's so great.
And then when they're all sitting around there, like Benicio Del Toro is like laying on the bench, and he does the thing like what's the freaking the Ewan McGregor, like the train movie about heroin with Brad Pitt, where Brad Pitt just mumbles the whole time. Trainspotting.
Oh, Trainspotting, yes.
And Brad Pitt?
No, you're thinking of Snatch, where he's
Yes.
like, caravan for mama.
Yes.
Periwinkle Blue. That guy.
But he just does that thing where it's like Benicio Del Toro told Bryan Singer how he was going to play it. He's like, no one's going to be able to understand anything this guy says. But he didn't tell the other cast members. So during the scene where they're in the holding cell, like Kevin Pollak's line's like, "What did he just say?" Like that was like actually him going, "I don't understand you." And they're just like, "Just keep that in because we're going to just tell the audience you guys don't understand this guy."
Benicio Del Toro is one of my favorite actors.
He's great, dude. But he read the script and he realized the only purpose of his character was to be killed by Keyser Soze to show everyone how serious he was. He's like, well, if it's going to be like that, I'm just going to fuck around and no one's going to ever understand him.
He killed it.
So it's it's cool when you bring actors and directors and writers all together and they all have this like Because it's like financed by some weird like European company. Like it's not a major studio.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, yeah, that's a fucking weird idea. Let's do that. That's awesome.
Let's do that. Exactly. Yeah.
Like just mumble the whole movie. That might be great. Like I love when they do stuff like that.
That's great. That was also my next line. My last one is Keyser
Wait, hold on.
Soze.
One more thing I want to
my
mention
bad,
from that
my
scene.
bad.
Jesus, this is a lot of information. But that scene where they're in the holding cell, it's like 5 minutes long. They're all talking back and forth. And at like minute 4, the camera pans over to the left a tiny bit, and you see that Kevin Spacey's been sitting there the whole time. And no, he's not saying anything.
Yeah. And they kept skipping over him. They never showed he was in there.
Yeah, they would cut from left to right. He was in there too, but he never said anything. And that was when it's like, they're like, hey, they call me verbal because I talk a lot. And Kevin Pollak's like, yeah, I was just about to tell you, shut up.
Yeah. Dude, Kevin Pollak's great too.
But even from the beginning, it's like he's fading into the background.
Yeah, and I like, because I thought for sure, because he had the limp and he had the arm, because I'd never seen it before, when they showed all those guys, everybody was joking and stuff, and he wasn't joking when he said it. So then they didn't show him in the holding cell. I was like, oh, that must have been the guy who, like, they put in there just to fill out to the 5, and he wasn't really a bad guy, but then it turns out he was, and, like, how he shows, like, he's trying to be friends to set that whole storyline up. Dude, this movie's good.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Well, I knew that scene, and I knew the final scene, the final reveal, were going to be 2 of mine. The third scene I had a hard time with because there's so many that I wanted to pick from. So what'd you pick for your third?
I picked the part where they're telling Keyser Soze's backstory, where Robert Postlewaite's dad, Pete, is telling the Kobayashi guy is telling the story of Keyser Soze about, wasn't it him that told the story about how he killed his actual family? No,
I think it was Kevin Spacey telling agent Chazz Palminteri about the like legend of Keyser Soze. He was a Hungarian mafia guy.
That's
and,
what
like,
it was.
He killed his whole family. He was like, if you're going to threaten my family, I'd rather them all be dead.
Right, yeah. Dude, that, and how it was like, how they edited that to where it looked like a dream. You couldn't see Keyser Soze's face. He had the long hair. He had the weird-ass old revolver. And he just started killing his family just to prove. Dude, it was...
When the revolution comes, I'm going to kill it first to show these crackers I mean business.
Oh, man. I totally agree with that. I'll be glad to kill my wife and kids when the revolution gets here. No, it was surreal and scary, like terrifying, not scary, but like terrifying how he was portraying Keyser Soze. I freaking loved it. I was like, this has got to be.
Well, it's great because the whole movie is building towards this myth, this legend of Keyser Soze, who maybe exists and maybe doesn't, but everyone's afraid of him. The cops are afraid of him. The feds are afraid of him. The criminals, everyone's terrified of Keyser Soze.
Yeah.
The whole but no one's sure if he's really real. And then the whole movie, and then like bam, the last 30 seconds you get it, and you're like, holy shit, this movie's awesome.
And the fact that they made it, the whole movie's little less than 2. I don't know how long it was.
Yeah, it's like an hour 40.
That's the other thing. Like, it didn't feel like I kept looking at my watch or anything like that. So like, I just kept going like,
no, 106 minutes, an hour 45. It's freaking great,
dude. And they waited for the last freaking bit to break.
Yeah, dude. At an hour 38, like Kevin Spacey's still in the interview room with Chazz Palminteri. Like it's the very last. It's the very end of the movie. Man. It's one that if you got to pee really bad and you get up before the credits roll, you have really screwed yourself.
Yeah, who does that? Don't do that. Yeah, that's my third one. So what's your third one?
My third one I had a hard time picking because I had the whole middle of the movie to pick from. I ended up picking when Kobayashi meets all 5 of them in the like pool room. They're like trying to figure out what they're going to do. They go out to L.A. after their like New York taxi cab policeman heist, which is also amazing. Right. They do some jobs out there for the fence. Yeah. And then he comes in as the representative of Keyser Soze, and he goes through every single one of them, and he's like, you 6 years ago, like stole a load of steel that was going to be burned down, and it was going to really fall off the truck, and then Keyser Soze was going to ship that over to make a nuclear bomb in Pakistan. Right. Every one of them had done some crime they didn't know indirectly affected Keyser Soze. Like, all of you have stolen from Keyser Soze, and the fact that you didn't know that you did this is the only reason that you're still alive. But now you owe him, and here's what he wants you to do.
That was fantastic. And then he gave him the briefcase, and they opened it up, and they all had the envelopes, and they had everything in there.
Yeah, dude. Stephen Ball was like, "This is everything I've ever done since I was a teenager."
Oh man, Yeah, that was a good scene. Dude, so wait, like when you said they did the stuff for the fence, that's the Peter Green guy, the blonde haired
Peter
guy.
Green. That's the guy for the villain from The Mask, which we did last year.
Yeah. So like, is he a real person? Was that part of the story real? Like we don't know, right?
We don't know because Verbal is the narrator
on the board, right? Isn't his name Redfoot? Yeah.
Yes, because Kevin Spacey, Verbal Kent, is the narrator. We don't know how much of the middle of the movie is entirely fabricated, but we know stuff like that. Like he said, the fence's name was Redfoot, and Redfoot is a name he got from the whiteboard in the police office.
Yeah.
So it's like that might have been totally made up.
That's freaking great.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. And and no one has ever answered some question like Bryan Singer, Christopher McQuarrie, Kevin Spacey. None of them have ever answered questions about stuff like that because they're all going like, "Hey, man, I don't know."
I don't know. Maybe you just gotta ask.
Like I love that 30 years later, people are still going like, "But for real, was that?" It's like, I don't know.
No, for real.
But seriously, tell me.
That's freaking great. That's a
Johnson.
great
Who told you to get suspended?
Johnson.
I don't know why you said that.
One little pinky get blown off. Everybody tripping. Yeah, good one. What about quotes? My first quote, which I didn't know was from this movie.
Yeah.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Is that from this movie?
It's originally from it's from a writer from like the 1800s, but I think like from pop culture, it's from this movie. That's where people know it.
Yeah. And I didn't know. I'm like, I wonder if they came up with this or if that's like a thing from a writer from a different time. Like I didn't know if that was a thing or not. Dude, it's friggin' fantastic. That was how he. You're right. It's a staple in pop culture. I hear it all the time. It transcends this movie because I didn't even know it was from that. It's just fantastic.
I got that as my first quote. That's the most memorable quote from this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I had to include that one.
Yeah.
And my second quote, there was a bunch of funny lines in this movie but one of the ones that I caught early on that I really liked was when the police were in the very beginning were interrogating him in New York, and they were interrogating Kevin Pollak.
Yeah.
And all the cops, and you just see each of them like it's Stephen Baldwin, and it's Benicio Del Toro, and it's Kevin Pollak, and it's Gabriel Byrne. You don't ever see him interrogate Kevin Spacey, but you see him interrogate all the other people.
Right.
And Kevin Pollak, the cops are like, "I can put you in Queens on the night of the hijacking," and Kevin Pollak, in frickin' perfect Kevin Pollak sarcastic fashion, goes, "Really?" He's like, "I live in Queens. You put that together yourself, Einstein? What do you got, a team of monkeys working around the clock on this?"
Sarcastic Kevin Pollak is my favorite Kevin Pollak.
It's the best, dude. And then even before that, he's cracking me up because he's like, "You guys have nothing. I'm going to have your badges." And then the voiceover is Kevin Spacey going like, "And this is whoever. He doesn't give a shit about anything." I was like, yeah. Definitely doesn't.
He doesn't care about any of it.
Whatever his character's name was, I forget.
And he
Todd
keeps,
Hockney.
Todd Hockney. He keeps that whole theme comes back up because right after Benicio Del Toro dies, then they're standing on the beach and they're like, Kevin Pollak's like, "Dude, this is not my boy that we're burying. This is your boy. Like, I don't care about any of this. I'm gonna run. Like, this is not running is definitely an option for me."
Dude. And then Gabriel Byrne's like, "If you run, we're gonna be digging another hole for you."
Yeah.
God,
bless.
this whole movie's good.
Awesome.
What's your next quote?
My next one is when Kevin Spacey is talking to Chazz Palminteri, and he's like, it's Verbal Kent, and he's talking to the guy, and he's like, "You think you can catch Keyser Soze? You think a guy like that comes close to getting caught and then sticks his head out?" I freaking love that. Like, he's just going to not... Yeah. He's not, and now that I know, I put that down because I was like, I love the way he delivered that line. That was awesome. He's mocking him. He's showing him how you're never going to pin him down. And then, like, now that I know at the end, that's how dude, I was like, I'm definitely using that quote because now that I know who it is and how he says it, that's just the best freaking misdirection ever. Like, Kevin Spacey freaking... He killed it on this. The way he delivered that line, I had no idea that's how it was going to twist. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way he said that, I was just the whole time I was just like, man.
Well, and he was also saying stuff like, he's like, my guess is like, even if you were close to him, he's like after this, like you'll never see him again. He was just saying stuff like that throughout the whole movie. God,
yeah, my third quote is another one from him for the misdirection. He's like, first day in the job, and you think you can catch Keyser Soze? Like how that matches now that I know the final reveal. Friggin' is fantastic. Misdirection, man.
And then at the very end of the police interview, he says another line that's really famous that I almost put in there, but he just does. He's like, and just like that, he's gone.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a freaking great bedtime story, Kevin Spacey. Now, please go away.
Yes. Why'd we have to talk about him in my bedroom?
My third quote was from Agent Kujan, Chazz Palminteri.
Yeah.
Because it's early on in the interview. And again, dude, it tips it perfectly, but you never pick up. And he goes, first thing I learned on the job, you never believe what you're told.
Yeah.
It's like he says it, like in the first freaking 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like right when they start the interview with him in verbal counts. Dude, this movie's smart.
Yeah, I don't know how you write something like this, like to be able to wrap your head around all of that.
Christopher McQuarrie did 9 drafts of this thing, and even that seems like not enough. That would take me like about 200, I think.
He killed it on this. Dude, great quotes. Who's your first best character?
My first character is obviously Kevin Pollak. Because I love Kevin Pollak.
I also love Kevin Pollak, but I left him off because I picked another Kevin, and I didn't want to. I know you've seen some of his impressions.
Yeah.
God bless, he's so good at them, and he's so funny. And I just like how he's like just a little tiny guy that friggin' always tells it like it is. He's super sarcastic, super funny. He has great like cadence when he delivers.
He's always
lines.
Every time, because we did him in A Few Good Men. He's great in that. He's in Grumpy Old Men. He's great in that. He's in Grumpier Old Men, which I don't know if we'll do this year. Maybe we'll do it. But Casino, I think we'll do this year.
Yeah.
But dude, I always enjoy Kevin Pollak. He always makes me laugh. And it's not like he has like incredible range. He just delivers lines in a way that it makes me laugh.
Yeah. And I know this is going to end up being like what's his name's eyebrows on Hook. But every time I see Kevin Pollak wearing a hat, he wears the shit out of a hat. Like, he always wears it, and it looks good. I don't know how else to explain that.
Yeah.
But he wears some hats in this one, and I like it. Dude,
nice.
I freaking, like, when he turns around, he's in the back of the van on the dock, and he opens up the box and sees all the money, and he gets shot and turns around, and his face... Again, now that I know the twist at the end, like, I see why he made that face. Friggin' great. Dude, it's just great. Kevin Pollak's
man,
good.
he's good. He's done a lot of podcasting too, which is kind of funny. In 2012, he started a podcast called Talkin' Walkin', and he would bring in a guest, but the whole time they would do the podcast, he would do it in character as Christopher Walken.
Oh my God.
I don't think it went on for very long. It seems like it would get really boring, that particular gig. But he's done a bunch. He's been doing podcasts for like 15 years. That particular concept freaking cracked me up.
I don't know. Does he answer as Christopher Walken would, or just in that voice? Because I don't know.
I'm sure you can find it.
I'm gonna have to go find it. So I didn't pick Kevin Pollak. I picked Kevin Spacey. Again, we all know what he did wrong, but he killed it in this. The freaking being the con man, and I know that I think we're supposed to think that he is Keyser Soze at the end, and I get that, and I don't know. It's so good. I liked everything about it. The freaking limp,
he's awesome.
The arm, the whole thing.
And he was he talked to like doctors and stuff about if you have cerebral palsy, like what sorts of tics might you have, so they could develop all the characterization
like
stuff.
Even when he opened the envelope on that scene that we were talking about, when they opened that briefcase and everybody had an envelope, he opened the envelope with his one hand, and then grabbed the bottom of the envelope with his mouth and pulled it open. Taking it to that. They could have just skipped over that and just had him already have it open. But they went that far to really sell it.
They're doing a bunch of stuff like that. And they tip it a little bit because they tell you, like, after the police taxi heist in New York, all the other cons that he's working with, all the other usual suspects are going, Verbal Kent, man with the plan.
Yeah.
Like he's literally the man with the plan in the early part of the movie. And he tells you that what he had been in prison for was for con artist stuff. Like he's a con artist. He's the man with the plan. Like they're tipping it that he's more than meets the eye, but dude, it's still so hard to even when you rewatch even knowing it, you're gonna have a hard time. Like, dude, I still am not. I wouldn't bet my life on it. Like I can kind of see it, but they're playing it so open.
Yeah,
he's on my list. He wins the Academy Award, the first of 2 that he ends up winning in his career. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb. So he's probably not gonna win a third one.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, dude, he's amazing. He's the so they wrote this part for him. Christopher McQuarrie wrote. Kevin Spacey told Christopher McQuarrie at like a film festival, was like, "Hey man, I'd love to be in one of your next movies." Yeah. And so when they wrote this part, and they sent him the script, and they didn't tell him which part was his, and he was like, "Yeah, I kind of like Keaton." He's like, "I kind of like Agent Kujan, and I kind of like Verbal Kent." It's like, perfect, because Verbal Kent is what we wrote for you. And he's like, "Sweet, nice, done deal."
That's awesome.
He was the last build because he was the least famous, and they wanted to like conceal the twist. And I like when you can do that.
But my thing is like, I don't know, man. It's been 30 years for me, and I didn't know that it was how the movie went. So yeah, I'm glad it wasn't spoiled for me. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, man, he's awesome. Who's your next character?
My next one I put as Benicio Del Toro. I don't know that. I've seen a movie where I don't like his acting. I think he's like kind of weird, and I like that.
Yeah, dude, he seems super weird.
But dude, the freaking what's the movie with him and oh come on, Way of the Gun, which is also
Way of the Gun. Christopher McQuarrie directed that.
There are lines in that movie that I freaking love. And it's not always Benicio Del Toro doing it. Sometimes it's Ryan Phillippe. Dude, that movie's fantastic. It's well written also. It's one that's got the twist with James Caan in it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's lines in that movie, and Snatch, he's freaking in Snatch, Freddy Four Fingers in that, the movie we just talked about. Like, I freaking love Benicio Del Toro.
Dude, the quote from the Way of the Gun we used to say all the time, I can't say on this podcast, even after giving a language warning.
Yeah. You know what? Jake's been watching The Good Place, where instead of cursing, they say, like, holy forking shirt balls. So I'll say the line, because she's leaning on the car.
Yeah.
He's leaning on the car, and she goes, hey, get off the car. Hey, get off the car. And he turns and talks to the guy, and not her, and says, shut that...
Country music stars.
Shut that country music star's mouth before I ever come over there and fork start her head. I love that movie. If you haven't seen Way of the Gun.
And then the guy goes and whoops his ass.
Yeah, and dude, the first thing he does is stomps on her foot and punches her in the face. It's Sarah Silverman. It's so great.
Yeah, Way of the Gun's really good.
Yeah, dude, Benicio Del Toro, he's in the Avenger, like he's in the MCU, he's in freaking Star Wars, he's in Sicario, those Traffic, he's like in so many good movies.
He's great.
And he's good in those movies. Like, I just freaking I love him. He's
the whole
fantastic.
cast, dude, the main 5 are all awesome. I could have picked any one of them. I ended up picking Gabriel Byrne for my third.
Nice.
Because I thought he did a really good job, and it looks like he's the main character. You could see why he thought he was the main character. They shoot it as though he's the main character. He's the leader of the gang. Like, the agent, Chazz Palminteri, is convinced he's actually Keyser Soze. The whole thing is like, I've been after this guy for years. He killed his fiance. He did this and that. He's like, trust me, he doesn't have any friends.
Right.
And Verbal's like, no, he's my friend. He's nice to me. And it's like, oh, actually, he's not. You're the mastermind. He was the puppet.
Yeah, freaking misdirection.
Yeah. But he did a good job. I like Gabriel Byrne.
He does. And I like
even though
him
I feel like
actor.
Even though I feel like he's great value Al Pacino, I always like when he's in movies.
He's not. There was a part of the movie where they said something about he's like the devil himself, and I thought they were talking about him, and the whole time I'm like, wait a second, I saw a movie where he's like the devil. What's the movie with
Devil's Advocate?
No, that's Al Pacino. That's actually Al Pacino.
That's what I'm saying.
No. Is this dude? He's from like London or something. No, he's not British.
He's
Irish.
You can hear parts of his accent even in this movie.
Yeah. There's a movie though with him. I think it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, where he plays the devil, or he plays like a bad guy like that.
Is it End of Days?
End of Day. Is he in that?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I think he plays Satan in that movie.
Yeah, he does.
He plays the
Satan.
devil. Yeah. So when they said that, I was like, huh, I like that. What? Gabriel Bryne? What the? I like that. Dude, he's a great actor. He is.
He's really good. I feel bad because when I see him and Stephen Baldwin in this movie, my first thought immediately is like, those weren't the first choices.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone ever cast Stephen Baldwin being like, it's perfect. This is all we wanted was Stephen Baldwin to play this part. I feel like Stephen Baldwin is always the fourth offer. And it's not fair to Stephen Baldwin because I like him and he was good in this movie. And it's definitely not fair to Gabriel Byrne because he's really good. But I'm like, I don't think they wanted him.
I don't
Maybe
even
they did.
think Stephen Baldwin is the first Baldwin you pick, is it? Like,
no, of course not.
Yeah.
I guess honestly, not his fault. He has some really good brothers at acting. I mean, both of those guys have like freaking 70 movie credits. Like they've done way more with their lives than I have done with mine.
Right.
But that is my thoughts. Like that wasn't the first choice when I see him on the poster.
When they zoomed in on him a couple of times, all I could see was him going like this and Pauly Shore running with an encyclopedia and hitting him on the head on Biodome. Like that's all I could picture was him on Biodome playing Doyle.
Gabriel Byrne, number 17 on the Irish Times list of Ireland's greatest film actors from the year 2020.
I knew he was Irish.
In 2009, The Guardian named him one of the best actors never to have received an Academy Award nomination. But when I look at his like filmography, it's all weird shit, dude. It's all
but some people
it's like, hey, we're gonna do a movie version of Hamlet, and it's like he's wearing a codpiece. It's all shit like that.
I like it.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like he's awesome, but I just don't think if most of the stuff he made, I was like, I don't think I need to see that.
Yeah, no, I agreed. There's some of it I haven't seen. I do like him, and when I see him in movies, I'm always like, huh, I like this guy.
I thought he was really good in this. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But who's your character?
My third one is Dave Cujon, Chazz Palminteri.
Chazz Palminteri, dude, he's great. Love that guy.
He's really good, dude. When we missed out doing Oscar back in the beginning in 1991 with Sylvester Stallone, because he's in that and he freaking kills it in that. He's super funny. He's in Analyze This and Analyze That.
Yeah.
I freaking love. I love him. He played this really well. Played it cool, but also could be kind of a hard ass. And I thought he was great. As soon as I put him down, I was like, no, this is the right choice. Because again,
Bryan
there's
Singer,
so many.
Bryan Singer wanted Chazz Palminteri for this part, but he wasn't available when they were getting ready to shoot it, and so they offered the role to Christopher Walken and to Robert De Niro. They both turned it down.
Nice.
And they even had Al Pacino come and read for it, and Pacino said he didn't do it because he had just got done playing a cop in Heat, and he has since said it's probably the role he most regrets turning down.
That's crazy.
And then Palminteri became available, but only for a week, so they shot all of his scenes with Kevin Spacey in like 5 days.
1 week. That's crazy. Since Christopher Walken turned it down, they could have just got Kevin Pollak to do it.
As Christopher Walken.
And since Al Pacino didn't want to play a cop, he could have just been Gabriel Byrne, which is the Irish Al Pacino.
Yeah, that's great value Irish Al Pacino.
We could have just swapped them all around.
But look at the cast list, man.
Dude,
there's none of these dudes are like legitimate like movie stars. I mean, Kevin Spacey, I guess, became a star after this, but they're all really good.
Even the guy, the FBI agent, the Giancarlo.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito.
I didn't recognize him as him until I started looking at the cast list, and I was like, "Oh crap!" I don't recognize him without like gray hair and freaking glasses on.
And now it's like Breaking Bad and freaking Better Call Saul, and like he's the villain in the new Captain America movie. I think he was also in one of the Star Wars shows, right?
He's sure. I'm so far behind on my Star Wars shows.
I know.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I recognized him as being a good actor at what he was doing, but the whole time I didn't realize that was him. Because he's so young. The great cast. It's a great cast.
Yeah, and
it's really good.
Giancarlo Esposito is kind of weird because he was like he's 66 now, so he's 36 when this comes out. But he really didn't like. I mean, he was doing stuff, but he declared bankruptcy and like thought about committing suicide, and he was like, almost 50, and then he got Breaking Bad, and now he's bigger than he ever was his whole career now from 50 to 66.
Memes. He's doing he's great. He's everything. He's everywhere.
Yeah, dude, he was in The Mandalorian.
Oh, nice.
Moff Gideon.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
So like, dude, he's in the MCU, he's in the Star Wars universe, he's in Breaking Bad. This dude's done a bunch of shit.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Great cast.
What
writer director?
Stuff. What about? Do we want to talk about Bryan Singer?
Yeah, Bryan Singer's the director. He is also the producer, and I think he was the one. I feel like I think he and Christopher McQuarrie had maybe worked on this together. He didn't get a story by credit. Christopher McQuarrie got all the credits, but he kept making McQuarrie rewrite the script until he got it to where he wanted it. So I think it was clearly a project they worked on together.
Yeah.
And like he was the one who wanted to name it The Usual Suspects from Casablanca.
Right.
So I think he was pretty heavily involved in the development too. And then he's the director. He's the guy who directs the first real superhero movies, the X-Men, the original X-Men movies.
Yeah. And Superman Returns.
Returns.
He's both the DC and Marvel universe.
Yeah, and then he also did. I don't think I ever saw this, but he did a movie in 1998 called Apt Pupil, which is based on a Stephen King novella.
Yeah, dude, that movie was good.
That was. I don't remember seeing it. Yeah, that was him. But that. I just reread that story like last year, and it's freaking terrifying.
Yeah, dude, that's got Ian McKellen in it. That's a freaking fantastic movie.
But Singer also directed Bohemian Rhapsody, and then like they took his name off of it because they weren't going to win any awards if he had his name on it.
Yeah, because of the Weinstein effect.
And he did Valkyrie in 2008, which was written by Christopher McQuarrie. That's the Tom Cruise Nazi movie.
Yeah, where he's trying to kill Hitler. Dude, good shit. That guy makes good stuff.
Yeah, dude. Except for him being a horrible person, was pretty good at his job.
Yes. What about McQuarrie, the writer? He the thing I knew him from is Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah. Dude. So he wrote Usual Suspects, Way of the Gun, Valkyrie. He wrote the original Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise. But then he also wrote like Edge of Tomorrow, which is maybe one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies that isn't like Top Gun.
I was going to say that's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. Period.
I think it might be my single favorite Tom Cruise movie that isn't Top Gun. I have to go back because Cocktail's obviously in there.
He does a lot of stuff with Tom Cruise, I'm noticing.
But like, dude, he wrote Top Gun Maverick. He's written like 6 Mission Impossibles. He's written 2 Jack Reachers.
He did The Mummies, The Edge of Tomorrow, Jack Reacher, which again I didn't realize because I hadn't read the Jack Reachers until we talked about it after the first Tom Cruise movie came out, and you were like, dude, in the books, Jack Reacher's huge, and he's like imposing. And as soon as he walks in, everybody gets worried. And you have Tom Cruise walking in? What the hell is this? So then I went back and read some of those books.
I like those books. I was very mad about that casting, even though Tom Cruise produced
it.
So I know.
That's what made me go read the book. Dude, I freaking... And he's got a uncredited writing work on Batman and Robin that we're probably going to maybe do.
We're probably going to do that. I think he probably was happy to not be credited on that.
Oh, man.
Dude, the other thing about Christopher McQuarrie is when he wrote this movie, he was 26.
God bless.
Which seems pretty good to have like written an Academy Award for which you win an Oscar. Like, that's
pretty good.
I'm 45 and I've not accomplished anything nearly as impressive as that. And probably I'm not gonna.
This is the thing, though. You would say like, he's peaking too soon. It's 26. It's all downhill from here. But it's not. It's not really. He's still making bangers.
Yeah, dude. He wrote the Top Gun sequel like 4 years ago.
He like rewrote. Well. I'm looking at his thing right now. In 2015, he rewrote. He did a rewrite for Rogue One.
Yeah,
that's one of the best Star Wars movies. That's from the new bit of Star Wars.
I like
movies.
Rogue One, but he also did a rewrite of World War Z, which is a terrible adaptation.
So if you don't know about the actual book, though, it's a pretty good movie.
Right, if they just called it something else, Brad Pitt fights zombies, then it probably would be fine. But when they called it
World War Z, everybody was expecting Max Brooks.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah.
All right, man. Do you have any other best?
I don't have anything. We've talked about all the stuff that.
The only thing I was going to mention is that did you see the translation for the name Keyser Soze?
No. What is it?
It's Hungarian, and Soze is a Hungarian word that means talks too much, aka verbal.
Verbal.
And then Kaiser is the Hungarian word for king, but it's apparently really close to another word. So, but they said that during filming, Bryan Singer kept referring to Verbal Kent, Kevin Spacey's character, as the king who talks too much.
Nice.
Like he was telling everybody during filming that's Keyser Soze.
Nice. Kaiser is where we get the word Caesar, which is, so that means king. Like same thing with Tsar and in
Tsar.
Russia. Yeah.
And that's also where we get the Kaiser rolls, which are delicious.
Delightful. Do you want the rye or the Kaiser? It's the special tonight. All right. So,
All right,
what
55
about
minutes
worst?
in. Worst,
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer kept touching kids. They both have been accused
They
of
can't
it and
stop.
sued for it a lot. And
They can't stop.
And that because they're rich and they have good lawyers, they've gotten a lot of it dismissed. But when you've been accused of touching kids like 13 different times, you probably did some shit.
You probably touched some kids. Yeah. The worst
yeah,
I had,
that's
I had worst
pretty bad.
effects was the explosion on the ship. That was the only thing.
I know.
That looked kind of weak. You could tell it was, but they did it on the cheap, and I get it. And that was, if that's my only nitpicking thing,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
If I was going to nitpick this movie, the point that I took away from 10 down to 9 is for the third act when it just becomes like an action movie where they're just shooting up a ship, because it's all kind of like...
Yeah.
Like Stephen Baldwin has his freaking MP5, and you just see the shot of him from the side. He just turns into a doorway and just like sprays. And then he moves to the next doorway and just sprays. It's like, what's he doing
Kevin Pollak's
there?
just waving it back and forth.
Yeah.
Like
These guys
Ghostbuster.
are...
They're not good at that.
I could have choreographed that better.
In the
so, yeah,
rain,
that whole-
you don't know.
Yeah, that whole scene. That could
Old
use some
tech,
work.
dude. They had a fax machine. I love that. I love a nice fax machine.
Who doesn't love a fax machine? The
With a
IRS loves a
with
fax
a
machine.
hand-drawn
Hospitals love
picture
a...
of.
Yeah,
Kevin
dude, they
Spacey.
sketched him out. It's like, this guy's got a widow's peak. He's our guy.
Yeah, that's got to be him. Political correctness, dude. At first, I was like,
Wait. I forgot one thing from the best. Remember when they were having a confrontation with the evil guy from The Mask, Redfoot?
Yeah.
And Stephen Baldwin's like cussing him out, and he flicks his cigarette and hits Stephen Baldwin
hits him
in the
face. That had to be real, right?
It was real. You could tell because you could see the freaking ash like bust off his face.
Sparks were going everywhere.
So
That's
but again,
freaking sweet.
low budget movie. He's supposed to flick it at his chest, and he freaking hit him in the forehead, and so like that really happened. And Stephen Baldwin's reaction is 100% real because the shit hit him in the face.
That's great. And now it's friggin' 30 years later, and his brother's getting him back with a gun. So,
Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, "That's definitely real." Because they didn't have the budget for CGI on this.
yeah, that had to be. I saw that, and I was like, "Oh man, I think he really did hit him."
Yeah.
Dude, for political correctness, I was putting in there like, "Hey, maybe I know it was all part of it to talk about Verbal Kent's like disability, and kept talking about him being weak and all of that, but that was all part of the deception." So
Yeah.
I didn't. I put it on there, but that was that. By the time I got to the end, I was like, "Oh wait." He was
didn't
letting
actually
him do
have cerebral palsy, but they like the policeman Chazz Palminteri was saying like, "Yeah, you're a gimp, you're a cripple, you're weak. That's why nobody likes you." I was like, "Dude, this guy's being really mean." Turns out he
that's
was
why I
faking
put
it,
it
but
in there,
still, he didn't
that.
know
Then in
that.
the last 30 seconds, I was like, "Well, got to erase this one."
Yeah,
So-
he's actually fine.
Yeah,
he was the mastermind all along. Turns out.
Yeah, King Tucker. All right, 5 questions.
Yeah, 5 questions. Is it okay for kids?
Dude, I don't profanity. That doesn't bother my kids. I always, I'm always trying to picture. Should
Yeah.
Jake watch it? He's 12. Dude, I think 15, maybe 13. Could you make this rated PG-13? Just take out some.
You'd have to
turn
take
it
out
to
some
fairy
language.
godmothers?
It's not super bloody. If you just took out
it's
some cocksuckers and some MFers, you could make it PG-13.
Yeah. So I think I'd say maybe 13. Originally I said 15, but I think 13 is the answer.
I think probably somewhere in that range is about the right. If your kids
Yeah.
are okay with language and you're okay with, I don't care about that. But also,
Yeah.
like, I've seen this movie a bunch, and I'm a grown up, and I'm pretty smart, and I'm still not 100% sure I understand it. So
Yeah, right. That's the other
factor
thing
that
you gotta
in
make
as
sure.
well.
Right.
Because even after this time, this is probably I've seen this thing at least a dozen times. I was still like, I'm not sure why
Yeah.
Why did he even make up a story? Why didn't he just take his immunity and go on home? What was the point of that? I think it was just the point just to mess with the cops.
Because he could do it, right.
Yeah, I'm like, I think he was
Freaking
just like...
cops. Like, he turned around, shook his head as he was walking out.
Yeah, like, I think he was just
Forking
doing
cops.
it to fuck with them. Yeah.
Right.
So teenagers probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Would this movie get made if it were pitched now? I'm going to say there's no chance because it's freaking complicated. There's a bunch of people speaking. They didn't want to make it the first time because there was so much like narration. There was so much exposition.
So the whole time I'm picturing it like a TV show like Fargo or True Detective or something like that.
Yeah,
where
prestige TV.
Right. But like those are very niche markets. You can't get the students I have to watch a show. Like, remember we talked about Coffees for Closers. What the hell's that movie?
Yeah, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Glengarry Glen Ross. My students aren't going to watch a movie like that. There's not enough going on. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know that you get this made. Maybe you could. Maybe you could get it as a limited series, like a True Detective type thing. I don't know. I don't know that you make it a TV show at all. I think you got to make it a movie. And I don't know that you want to remake it.
I don't think anyone's going to make this as a movie. There's no foreign market for it. And I think if they did make it, the boat heist scene would take up 80% of the screen time. It would just be all explosions.
You would have to, yeah.
The twist would be way easier. Real quick, you mentioned Glengarry Glen Ross, and I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, but you know they're doing that as a play on Broadway right now?
Yeah, Bill Burr's in it.
Bill Burr, Bob Odenkirk, and Kieran Culkin.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Somebody
awesome.
on the Bill Burr subreddit said they went to opening night and they had a picture of them bowing at the end. It's like, man, I bet that was good.
Yeah, dude, I would love to do that. I don't want to see plays in my hometown with people I don't know, but I'll go to New York to see famous people in a play.
Yeah.
I mean, I would if I had to pay
Steve,
to get there.
the guy who delivers mail? I don't want to watch him do this.
So, yeah, dude, I think you're right. Prestige TV show would be the move, but I don't think anyone would do it, and I don't think it would work as a movie.
Right.
And it wouldn't be that hard to cast because everybody's like in their 30s.
Right.
And there's a bunch of good parts, but I
don't
know.
The only person I really did that I wanted, there's two people that I cast, and there's no reason. There's a whole bunch of people in this movie. But Verbal Kent, I want Rami Malek that plays Freddie Mercury, like Mr. Robot. I want him to play Verbal Kent because I think he could kill it. And also, Cujon, I want Jeffrey Wright. Peoples Hernandez from Shaft, remember that guy? Jeffrey Wright?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's who I want to play the friggin' cop that's talking to him. I just picked those two, and those are the only two I cast. But I could see both of them freaking killing it in that.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of really fun, casting for this movie. Like Kobayashi, just like the thin, creepy looking guys, like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, ooh, nice.
Like there's some fun, there are definitely some fun choices, but yeah, this would be a really fun one to recast if I had a little bit more time to dig into it.
I just picked those two. I think I think Rami Malek would kill it. I love that.
Yeah, dude, I like him. Can you still watch and enjoy this movie in 2025?
Yeah, dude,
it's fantastic.
It holds up really well, apparently, because I still didn't know, and I hope you haven't listened to this whole thing and not seen it yet. But the only real baggage is freaking Kevin Spacey and his personal scandals and Bryan Singer and his things.
Right.
That makes it tough for some people. But
yeah,
if you
dude,
can get past that.
I completely understand that. But I like that. I mean, some of the stuff, like we did Mannequin on Patreon, by the way, free 7-day trial if you want to check that out.
Yeah.
And that one, if you didn't see it when it came out, it's terrible. But if you have nostalgia for it, it's still pretty bad. But this, like, even if you haven't seen it, you can just come to it fresh and you're like, dude, that movie's good.
Yeah, it's really
like it doesn't.
good.
You don't even have to remember it to watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I gave Friday
awesome.
a 9.0 because it was Friday and it was hysterical, but it's got a lot of nostalgia for me. I've never seen this and it's a 9. It's really good.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Good. And it's available for streaming on Max, which I love.
Hey, we got one.
Freaking click on the thing I already pay for and go, hey, look at the movie. That's like a magic trick.
We finally got one that's available.
All right.
That's great.
Thank you guys for listening. Check out our Patreon for 1987 movies. We should have another one of those coming up pretty quick. I think we said maybe, I think we're going to do Spaceballs next on Patreon.
Spaceballs, the lunchbox.
Yep. You can do a free 7-day trial there. And we'll be back on the main feed next one around for The Net.
The Net. Is it The Net or The Net 2.0? Which one are we not doing the sequel?
I don't
The
think we're going to do
direct-to-video.
the original.
No. Oh, there's a direct-to-video
Bullock.
one. Yeah.
No.
I pulled it up to see if I could stream it just for
Dennis
giggles.
Miller.
Yeah, the Net 2.0, you don't want to watch that one.
No, you definitely don't.
You want to watch the first one. It's really good.
All right.
I hope it's still good.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Bye, con Dios.
Bye, con Dios.
I clicked it. Thanks for listening to Movie Life Crisis. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and remember, don't drive angry.